Okay, we are on the record. If you could please state your appearances. Can you state your name?
Oliver Barron.
Are you representing yourself today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good morning, Your Honor. Doris Namey, bar number 6431, and present with me is my client, Lisa Garcia, who is the defendant in this action.
Thank you. Okay, I believe we're on for the defendant's motion, and I have the plaintiff's opposition and counter motion. So whenever you're ready. And you can have a seat, sir, while she's talking.
Thank you, Your Honor. Basically, this is our motion to establish a custody order that adopts the status quo for the parties. The parties separated the latter part of summer of 2007. Since that time, my client has had custody of the child full-time. The plaintiff has had Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, and he's had visitation with the child from approximately 9 o'clock in the morning until approximately 6 p.m. with no overnight stays. They were living together since the time he separated. I believe we have at least three different addresses that he's lived in the last 7 months. He currently lives in a one-bedroom apartment that doesn't allow for housing for the child. The child is 4 years old, and he's a boy. And we're basically just asking the court to adopt the status quo, give them all primary custody, establish visitation for the father based on what the parties have adopted and accommodates both of their work schedules, and basically establish child support. I believe this is really all going to come down to child support. He's been paying her whenever he feels like it, different amounts. Some months he won't pay at all. The next month he may catch up. Currently he's delinquent. My client unfortunately didn't have a schedule of arrears ready at the time that we filed, but she has since calculated the child support payments that he's paid because he does pay by check. So she does have those amounts since the parties have separated, and I am able to provide that to the court today. I don't believe that he's going to dispute the amount that he's paid. I think he's just basically seeking joint physical. At least that's what I read in the opposition. The only thing in the opposition that he uses to justify a change in the current arrangement is simply that what my client is requesting serves her best interest, but not the best interest of the child. This is the way the parties have been doing it. This is the way it's worked out for them. She has Mondays and Wednesdays off, and he has Monday, Tuesday, and he has Tuesday, Wednesday. So she actually allows him to have a whole day that is normally her day off as well with the child. For him to say that this is self-serving for her and she's not willing to foster a relationship with the father is simply ludicrous. He's never asked to take the child outside of those 2 days, and he doesn't have anywhere to house him if he were to have an overnight stay. So that's really what it comes down to, Your Honor. We just want to adopt the status quo and have an actual order in place so that the support payments remain timely and that the visitation schedule is adhered to.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. Excuse me.
Your Honor, I've told her in the past that I will take Lewis any time that I can. All this time, she is the one that tells me when I can have him and when I can't have him. And he has stayed overnights with me plenty of times, so I don't know what that issue is. The only time that he hasn't spent the night was when Lisa was upset with me, and she keeps the child for me when she gets upset. I have been paying child support. Yes, I did. There's some payments, so I have no problem having my wages garnished to whatever the court comes up with, house support. And I don't understand the housing thing about me having a one-bedroom. My son has a room at her house, which he doesn't even sleep in. He sleeps with her. So in my house, when he spends the night with me, he sleeps in my room and I sleep on the couch. So I don't know why that would be an issue.
Okay. So what are you requesting as far as visitation or timeshare?
Well, I can have him any time. I've told her I'll pick him up after work. I'll take care of him before work, whenever I can have him. The only time we have a problem, the only time she gets upset is when I can't pick him up on time because I have to work. And I'll pick him up late, or I can't pick him up that day, so we switch days.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Did you want to say anything else?
I just want to make sure that whatever that we decide on when I really can have him, because it's just been going on and on where everything has been up to her, and when she gets upset, I don't get to see him at all. So I just want to make sure that I get to be a part of his life.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay.
I just wanted to say, Your Honor, I think the thing I didn't make clear is that the plaintiff works swing shift. So sometimes he doesn't get off work until after midnight, so there's not really an opportunity for him to be able to pick up the child after he gets off of work. To the best of my knowledge, he starts work at 3 p.m. And my client is usually off by 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock at the latest, so she's able to be home with the child every night. I don't think either side brought that out.
Okay, so what would be the problem with Dad having overnights on his days off?
Well, my client's concern was that the child just doesn't have suitable housing. We didn't really know where he lived, honestly, Your Honor, until about a month ago. I had sent correspondence trying to resolve these issues. I had sent a proposed parenting plan, and he knows because we've been in communication before. It just, we didn't know where he was, where the child would be living, what kind of housing would be provided.
But do you know now?
I haven't seen the place. Have you seen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
Yes, ma'am. Lewis has been staying overnight. He allowed me to come in and check out his new place where he was living. And yes, I did get upset one time because he didn't share with me the second place that he moved to. So
Excuse me.
I didn't know who he was living with, and I didn't want my child, different houses that I was not familiar with who he was staying with.
Okay, but right now you know where he's at.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes.
you don't have a problem with the overnight.
Absolutely
Okay.
not. He's been staying with his father overnights. I have a journal that
Are
he.
you okay with it?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes. He can stay with as long as if he does have to work. I understand he's on salary, and if they call upon him, he's a director, he needs to go. I will more than happy step in and pick up my son and have him in his home. We do have a 5-bedroom house, and my son, he gets scared. He does it ever since his father's left. He's just always slept with me.
Okay, so it's not an issue about overnights, so that's good. I know that you had a partial agreement back a little over 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. So I'm sure a lot's changed since then. And the law provides that you're supposed to go to mediation if you can't agree on everything. So what I'm going to do is enter a temporary order today and then give you a chance to go to mediation and see if you can come up with an agreement. And then if you can't, when we come back, we'll either enter an order or we'll set an evidentiary hearing. So temporarily, you have joint legal custody, and all I'm going to do is keep the status quo temporarily, and that's without prejudice to either party. That the defendant is temporarily the primary physical custodian, and that Dad has your days off are Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yes, ma'am.
So what would that be? You'd pick him up, I don't know what you're
I
saying.
usually pick him up at 9 a.m.
On
and
Tuesday?
yes.
Okay.
And he spends the night with me, and Wednesday either 7 o'clock or depending on what time she works, I bring him back or she picks him up or we meet.
Okay.
It's usually before 9 o'clock would be the latest.
Before 9. Okay. All right, so all we're doing is setting that on a temporary basis while you go to mediation until we come back. Okay? And when do we come back?
November 20th at 10 a.m.
We have gone to mediation, and
That was
this
2
is-
years ago, right?
Yes, and he disagreed in the physical custody because I said I want stability for my son. I don't want him switching schools, and my children have gone to the same schools year after year, and I explained that in mediation, and he just did not agree on the physical custody.
Making you go back, please, for them to right now.
Thanks.
You're just going to try again.
Try again.
2 years have gone, 2.5 years have gone by. Okay? So,
Something in place, Your Honor, for the child support temporarily?
based on the affidavits of financial condition on file, the statutory maximum is $664. For the record, 18% of plaintiff's gross monthly income is $762, but the cap is the $664. So that's the temporary support. And sir, did you say you wanted it in a wage garnishment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, then that will be the order. And again, everything's temporary, the visitation, the custody order, just to get us through to see if you're able to come up with something in mediation. And if not, if either one of you request an evidentiary hearing on custody, that's what we'll be setting at that time. Okay? Before you leave, make sure you go to the Family Mediation Center. Do you remember where it is? It's on the first floor of this building?
Yes. Also,
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I supplied a
I'm sorry.
financial statement, but I didn't receive one from the defendant.
I'll be happy to provide one. I believe at the time that he was served with the motion, we filed it subsequent to, Your Honor, so I'll be happy to provide him.
Okay, so you'll get him a copy? Okay. All right, so make sure you stop at the mediation center before you leave. You have the temporary orders in place, and we'll see you, what was it, November?
November 20th at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Your Honor, there is one other issue that we
What's
had.
that?
We had raised a motion, and it was raised in his opposition as well, which is the father's refusal to sign so that she can get a passport for the child. She's got
Okay.
several children. They all have passports for the purpose of taking vacations and so on and so forth. I tried to coordinate with him myself to have this passport issue resolved. Even made arrangements for him to meet up at the post office to sign it there in front of the initial party. It just hasn't happened, and it will not happen. And in his opposition, he's saying he's concerned about why we're asking for it. Can we just get that issue resolved? There's just no reason to withhold that.
So where does Mom go? That she needs a passport?
Well, my mother and my father, we plan on going to Mexico in December at a family vacation, and I asked him if he could meet me at the post office because they need both parents to sign and show ID, and he refused to do so. So then I asked Doris.
Okay. What would you like to say?
When she first asked me for the passport, I asked her where he was going, and she told me not to worry about it. So when I said, why can't I know where my child is going, she told me she's going to Thailand. Now it's her mom's taking her to Mexico. And the other opposition is every time she gets mad, I don't get to see my son.
Okay, let's do this. Since it's not till December, talk about it in mediation, and Mom, you need to get the exact plans in writing to Dad so he knows what he's agreeing to. Because if someone didn't tell me where they were taking my son, I wouldn't agree either. So if it changed, so if you just get him all the information, then he'll probably be more willing to sign it. And then if you get me the information, then I can say yes or no. Okay? So we'll be back in November, so that shouldn't be a problem. And maybe you two will agree to it, but make sure you have to communicate back and forth, and both of you are entitled to know where your child is at all times.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
I have all the information now. It's just at that time she was acting
Okay.
this way.
So are you okay with doing it now? That you have all the information?
That's
Okay.
as long as I know
Perfect.
where it's going.
Okay, and that's probably what held it up, just the information.
Because I don't know how long it'll take for them to send me the passport
Okay.
back.
Well, Dad's saying he's willing to cooperate. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Make sure you stop at the mediation center before you leave, and we'll see you when you come back. Okay?